This is Radio Taiwan International.
Welcome to the news on Radio Taiwan International. I'm Hannah Belinsky, coming to you from Taipei, Taiwan. We begin with a look at today's top stories for Wednesday, December 17th. Taiwan and allies boost First Island chain defense in response to record number of PLA incursions. Trump 2.0 national security strategy puts Taiwan front and center. And Luke de Pulford says trial against Jimmy Lai an exercise in political persecution. But first, today's top story. This Wednesday, the National Security Bureau and the Defense Ministry reported to the legislature to brief lawmakers on the Chinese threat and the readiness of Taiwan's armed forces. The NSB said that as of December 15th, PLA aircraft had entered Taiwan's surrounding airspace more than 3,570 times in 2025, surpassing the 3,070 incursions recorded in 2024 and setting a new record. In addition, the PLA conducted 39 joint combat readiness patrols, which are believed to be tests of Taiwan's early warning and response capabilities and to verify their battlefield operations for a Taiwan Strait conflict. The PLA also conducted its first dual-craft aircraft carrier training exercise in the Western Pacific, per the NSB, and there were incidents such as Chinese Coast Guard vessels using water cannons against Philippine government ships and J-15 fighter jets locking onto Japanese F-15 fighters. These actions have prompted the United States and its allies to strengthen collective defense along the First Island chain. As part of joint military exercises, the U.S., Japan, and the Philippines have all deployed missile systems meant to boost sea denial capabilities. NSB Director General Tsai Ming-yen said this approach prioritizes the First Island chain and highlights Washington's efforts to promote coordinated defense capabilities among allies to deter the CCP's expansionist threats. As for the combat readiness of Taiwan's armed forces, the Defense Ministry stated that it comprehensively monitors PLA activities around the Taiwan Strait and that the military is appropriately dispatched at sea and in the air based on key warning indicators. The ministry also emphasized that in the event of a sudden attack, units will carry out combat missions under decentralized operational guidance. Defense Minister Wellington Koo said they emphasize mission command so that units can handle unexpected situations. The Defense Ministry stressed that they are working to advance 4 military development priorities: asymmetric warfare capabilities, defensive resilience, reserve force strength, and gray zone response capabilities. They are also developing countermeasures such as the Taiwan Shield, further demonstrating Taiwan's commitment to self-defense. The White House released the Trump 2.0 National Security Strategy report earlier this month. Former Assistant Secretary for Indo-Pacific Security Affairs Randall G. Shriver said the language concerning Taiwan in the report strengthens Taiwan's importance. Deterring China is also clearly emphasized as a strategic objective. The 2025 NSS report states that deterring conflict against Taiwan, ideally by maintaining military superiority, is a U.S. priority, and that Washington will maintain its long-standing policy position that the United States does not support any unilateral changes to the status quo in the Taiwan Strait. The report further notes that Taiwan is receiving heightened attention in part due to its dominance in semiconductor production, but more importantly because it provides a direct gateway to the second island chain and separates Northeast Asia and Southeast Asia into 2 distinct strategic theaters. Shriver was part of the first Trump administration and now serves as chairman of the U.S. think tank Institute for Indo-Pacific Security. He attended a forum last week for the release of former Chief of the General Staff of Taiwan, Admiral Li Shiming's new book. When asked about the latest NSS, Shriver said that the language of the report clearly articulates Taiwan's strategic value. He noted that the content of the NSS can be seen as broadly supporting efforts such as Taiwan's recent special defense budget proposal and leaves ample room for U.S.-Taiwan cooperation. Li emphasized at his book launch that asymmetric warfare is key to deterring China. He believes strategic clarity is particularly important in Taiwan's case, saying that if the U.S. were to clearly state that it would intervene militarily in the event of a conflict in the Taiwan Strait not initiated by Taiwan, this would likely boost Taiwan's morale and encourage greater investment in military capabilities. On Monday, a Hong Kong court found Apple Daily founder Jimmy Lai guilty of conspiring to publish seditious content and colluding with foreign forces under the national security law. Police arrested Lai multiple times in 2020, and he has been in detention since December 2020. Lai is currently serving a sentence of 5 years and 9 months on fraud charges. Luc de Pulford, executive director of the Interparliamentary Alliance on China, or IPAC, rejected those claims, calling the trial political persecution rather than a genuine legal process.
The case against Jimmy Lai has been fabricated to try to make him seem as if he was behind the organizing force behind the 2019 unrest in Hong Kong.
IPAC, a global network of lawmakers critical of Beijing's human rights record, was referenced hundreds of times in the judgment. De Pulford himself was mentioned more than 160 times, despite saying he barely knew Lai and had no substantive working relationship with him.
Frankly, it's really weird. It's just really bizarre to see text messages from me and some that I didn't even send, but alleging to be from me, are poured over in court day after day, as if there was some terrible motivation to it. I mean, all they were able to find, I think, in terms of my correspondence with Jimmy Lai, which was really very thin. I mean, I didn't talk to the guy very much.
De Pulford said prosecutors attempted to link Lai to IPAC through Andy Lee, a former volunteer who later became a prosecution witness, but failed to produce evidence supporting that narrative. Looking beyond the case itself, De Pulford warned the verdict would further erode Hong Kong's international standing.
Well, I think it's just important to say that we have to keep the flame of Jimmy Lai's case alive, not just for him, but for all of the other political prisoners in Hong Kong. Remember, there are many political prisoners in Hong Kong who do not enjoy Jimmy Lai's profile and do not have the resources to fight campaigns.
He also criticized the UK government for failing to uphold its legal and moral obligations under the Sino-British Joint Declaration, which guaranteed Hong Kong a high degree of autonomy after the 1997 handover. Taiwan plays a critical role in supply chains, said the U.S. Undersecretary of State of Economic Affairs Jacob Hellberg, noting the island's invitation to the summit of a U.S.-led AI supply chain initiative. Hellberg joined representatives from various countries on December 12th at the Pax Silica Summit, launching the Pax Silica Initiative to secure minerals for artificial intelligence. This partnership unites countries with top tech firms to unlock AI's economic potential, with new members expected in the first quarter of 2026. The inaugural summit that day drew nations with advanced AI supply chains. Taiwan, the European Union, Canada, and the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development attended as guests. Hellberg said Taiwan fully participated in summit sessions on manufacturing and semiconductors, areas where it is seen as vital. He added that the U.S.-Taiwan Economic Prosperity Partnership Dialogue, or EPPD, is slated for early next year. Hellberg explained Taiwan's importance to the supply chain made its participation in Pax Silica crucial, allowing key issues to be addressed directly before expanding those conversations to a multilateral setting. Taipei Mayor Jiang Wan'an on Wednesday visited Beitou Shiling Technology Park's T17 and T18 sites, where NVIDIA's headquarters will be located. Urban planning is ongoing, with a review meeting led by Deputy Mayor Li Sichuan expected in about a month. Post-approval, T17 and T18 will merge, allowing a contract signing with NVIDIA before the Lunar New Year. The city has invited NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang to join the ceremony during his January visit for the company banquet. In a briefing, Jiang outlined the surrounding area's advantages to living, ecology, and production. These include relocating residents to project housing and 500 social housing units, creating a net-zero disaster-resilient ecozone, and linking with T3, T4, and T12 to form a Taipei tech corridor from Nangang to Neihu and Beitou Tech. He envisions installing not just the NVIDIA headquarters, but also the strongest AI industry heart in Taipei and the world. Thanks for joining me for the news. I'm Hannah Belinsky. Stay tuned for another 50 minutes of English language features brought to you by Radio Taiwan International.
Cash for everyone. The government is giving out 10,000 NT dollars. It's easy to claim. Choose direct deposit, ATM, or post office. Check details at the official website 10,000.gov.tw or 10000.gov.tw or call the free hotline at 1988. Stay alert. Don't trust unknown sources. This advertisement is brought to you by the Ministry of Finance.